Finasteride! Yay! Anyway, so finasteride is a medication I get asked about fairly frequently, usually in reference to when people are concerned about hair loss or hair loss prevention. I've discussed it a little bit in a previous video, Hair Loss 2.0, I think I called it. But anyway, in that video, it kind of discusses different types of hair loss to look for, how to determine if you're actually having hair loss that is being caused from your hormone therapy and such things. And a quick differentiation, because when you go on hormone therapy, you are going to put your body under a period of stress. And this period of stress and change and everything is going to last anywhere from 1 to 2 years or so. And so you will see some hair loss. This is temporary. This is just that your body is under stress. It's going to shed hairs a little bit quicker and not grow hairs back as quick. And whenever they do grow back, they may grow back in a different pattern. This I call, it's my own term, is hair repatterning from hormone therapy. But anyway, that period of stress, like I said, usually lasts between 1 and 2 years. And so you will potentially see some, just a little bit quicker hair loss than you're seeing it grow back. This is something that you're not going to fix with like medicines and things. Be healthy and eat nutritious diets and all that stuff. That's always going to help in the long run with anything. But as far as this repatterning and distribution due to putting your body under stress from going on hormone therapy, this is something that your body is going to pass through after 1 or 2 years, and it's resolved, no big deal. The kind of hair loss that people need maybe to take things like finasteride for are more related to a byproduct of hormone therapy that can occur mainly in transmasculine folks who are on testosterone, though occasionally I will see a transfeminine person on estrogen that might need it. And that byproduct I'm talking about is DHT. That's short for dihydrotestosterone. It's a product made from testosterone when testosterone itself is combined with 5-alpha reductase. Yay, all these fun terms coming at you. It'll be on the test the next day. So anyway, when you're producing DHT, one of the things that DHT is in the body for, one of the things anyway, is to affect hair follicles. Now, this could affect them meaning growth, or it could affect them meaning hair loss. Generally speaking, when we're talking about like body hair or maybe facial hair or something like that, that's going to be DHT causing more hair growth. But whenever we're talking about head hair up here, usually we're going to be talking about DHT causing hair loss. And then, like I said, there's other things DHT can do depending on which form of hormone therapy you're on, but we're talking about hair today. Try and stay on topic, Stace. Anyways, so when we're talking about DHT as it relates to hormone therapy and potential hair loss, what can you do about DHT? One thing is you can actually have it checked in a lab and see what your level is. And I mean, there's no real agreed upon scientific level where, that I've seen anyway, where studies have been done and it says if you have this level of DHT, then you will have problems. And if you have it below this level, you won't have problems. There are theories out there, and there are, folks that have, a lot of anecdotal data. For my purposes, generally speaking, what I say is that you are at like moderate risk if your DHT level is, say, 30 ng-DL. You're at moderate to higher risk once it's above 40 ng-DL. And those who are like 20 or under on their DHT levels, I don't consider them really much at risk for DHT related hair loss. If they're between 20 and 30, I know everybody's like, well, what about the people at 20 to 30? That's kind of indeterminate. I haven't really seen one way or the other really that it's more risk or not. A lot of this can be determined by genetics as well, because even if you have a 60 DHT level, that does not mean that you're going to have hair loss problems. Like, the DHT in and of itself doesn't mean, yes, you'll have hair loss. This is just kind of a measurement that if you think you're having hair loss, you can do this measurement on labs and kind of think, oh, okay, is this, really a concern, or am I maybe losing hair for another reason? Because there's a ton of reasons why we shed hair. But anyways, so DHT, what can you do about it? So medications like finasteride, which there's a whole bunch of them. Finasteride just tends to be a popular one. What they do is they inhibit that enzyme 5-alpha reductase. So 5-alpha reductase combined with testosterone creates DHT. So if you inactivate that 5-alpha reductase, no DHT, right? So we're going to lower our DHT levels. So when you're looking at trans feminine individuals, in general, their hormone therapy is going to involve lowering their testosterone levels to begin with. And the lower your testosterone levels are, the less DHT you will have anyway. So, if you have a testosterone level of 10, I'll bet hard money you're probably not going to have a problem with DHT. There's just not enough testosterone there to make any DHT from anyway. Just ballparking it, I would say you probably don't have a risk of having DHT problems if your T is less than 100 or so. I really don't know what number would start having a risk, but I just have not seen anyone with a level that was less than 100 on their testosterone have any kind of significant DHT levels. So trans feminine people a lot of times are just freaking out about hair loss because they're just freaking themselves out. It's out there, it's on Reddit, it's on Discord, we're gonna lose our hair. A lot of that hair loss is, like I mentioned at the beginning, whenever you go on hormone therapy, you're gonna have a period of time where you're gonna shed hair a little bit faster than you grow it back. And it'll freak anybody out, so I can't blame anybody for going, or anything. But most of the time, trans feminine folks who have their testosterone levels lowered appropriately into the quote feminine ranges are not going to be having to worry about DHT. But every now and then there is someone who actually does have a reasonably high DHT level and they need to worry about it. And so finasteride or medications like it come into play for them. Now, transmasculine individuals, as you can figure, if you have higher DHT as you have higher testosterone, then people who are giving themselves testosterone are probably going to have more problems than those who are not, right? So, transmasculine folks, this is more a risk for you to have any kind of DHT related hair problems. But even so, it doesn't mean you will. Keep that in mind. And get that lab drawn. Anyways, so we talked about finasteride will inhibit that enzyme, that 5-alpha reductase. Now, there are some people out there who also wonder about, there's another fairly well known called dutasteride. Notice they both sound kind of similar. And so the difference between the two, there is some, and some people would argue that dutasteride itself is, a quote superior medication. It's up in the air. Theoretically, it does seem like it would be, somewhat superior, but it also has some drawbacks to it. So let's talk about that right quick. So finasteride itself, relatively easy to take. You're usually going to take it just once a day. And you're going to see a half-life on that medication of somewhere around like 6 to 8 hours or so, something like that. And it can slowly build in your system over time to where it's there a little bit longer. Should you choose to stop taking it, then it might take like a few days or, it's whatever, a week or so to get all the way out of your system and everything. But not really a big deal whenever you need to stop it if it's causing a side effect or a problem or something like that. Dutasteride, on the other hand, has an extremely long half-life. When you first start taking it, it's going to start building up in your system, but it can get to where, it's got like 4 or 5 weeks of a half-life. And so when you've been taking it for a long period of time, if you decide to stop it, or if you stop it because you have to, because maybe it's having a bad effect on your liver or something like that, that stuff's still going to be in you for 4, 5, 6 months after you stop taking it. So that can be kind of a problem if you don't tolerate it very well. So what's the difference action-wise between them? So they both, finasteride and dutasteride, affect 5-alpha reductase, but just for the nerds out there like me, there are 2 different types, type 1 and type 2 5-alpha reductase. And finasteride affects only one type, while dutasteride affects both. So that's why some people would say that dutasteride must be a superior medication if you are having some really bad issues with hair loss, that is. Because both of those types reside in hair follicles, and so it would make good sense that if you want to have control over DHT through the inactivation of 5-alpha reductase, that you would want to take one medication that's going to affect both type 1 and type 2 5-alpha reductase. But like I said, so finasteride affects type 2, while dutasteride affects both type 1 and type 2. But then, like I said, there's that whole half-life thing where dutasteride, once it's in you, like, it's in you. So if you have a side effect from it, but I hope it's not a bad side effect, because it could be a while before that stuff actually leaves your system. Dutasteride tends to be it's a somewhat older drug and everything, so there may be a little bit more data and studies out there on it. But with these older drugs, a lot of times people are more like, okay, we got to check your liver and kidney function more often and stuff like that. But like I said, this is one of those things where you need to decide what you're okay with, discuss it with your healthcare provider. And just come down to, pros and cons, which one you want to try, should you want to try it. Like I said, these medications are not a requirement for hormone therapy at all. They're just an adjunct therapy. And really, like I said, unless you have good evidence that you are having actual hormone DHT related hair loss, I wouldn't recommend just taking one of these medications, because they do have side effects that can go on with taking them. It's unclear exactly, with some of the side effects, how they would cross over into transgender medicine. Because, for example, finasteride and dutasteride both have sexual-based side effects, such as low sex drive and sexual dysfunction of the genital area and stuff like that. But I mean, that's kind of because it affects the hormones that also affect those things. So depending on who you are, whether trans feminine or trans masculine, that may or may not be something that actually has an effect. Another item for consideration if you're trans masculine is that DHT is what's responsible for changing your voice. It's going to help lengthen and thicken those vocal cords. So if you're taking a medication that prevents the formation of DHT, then are you going to hurt your chances on getting that deeper voice? So anyway, these are, like I said, these are things to discuss with your healthcare provider, just so you're better prepared. And kind of figure out, do I really need to be taking something like this? Is this hair loss stuff just the natural repatterning and stress loss from starting hormone therapy, or is it something deeper? Or like I said, if it's genetic hair loss or something else, nutrition related or whatever, I mean, then that needs to be addressed in different ways. But anyway, for our purposes, like I said, finasteride, easy to take every day, but dutasteride is as well. It's just that half-life difference is kind of a bugger if you have any side effects from it. And then, like I said, finasteride attacks the type 2 enzyme of 5-alpha reductase, while dutasteride attacks type 1 and 2. Whichever the case may be, wherever you go or whatever, just, your body, keep track of anything, write it down. Always be sure to ask your healthcare provider if you have any concerns whatsoever. And other than that, I hope this was helpful. I know it was a little bit rambly, but then all my videos are, because I just I don't know, ever since I had COVID, now it's like I have ADD. Never would have thought it before, but here I am, topic to topic. Anyway, so hope y'all enjoyed this. Hope you got a little information. Have a good day and stay safe out there, y'all.